piece, the work piece is a very important piece. We're here with Joanne Lara. She is the co-founder of Autism Works Now and the founder of Autism Movement Therapy. Amazing woman and a regular here on the show. Jessica Cavanagh is here, brilliant actress and playwright, has this hot new play that's having its world premiere in its full form in Los Angeles starting next week. And of course, the fabulous and wonderful Joe Mantegna. Can't believe that we get to have him here too. That's an extra special treat. We're all thrilled to have you here. And so we mentioned when we were at break that we're forgetting a couple of people that we have to thank here, because I know that Bren has been really important to this, how this happened. So talk a little bit about, one of you, about Bren's piece in this and what she has meant to this, and then we have to talk about Ronnie and his piece.
So Bren came into the picture after our Dallas run, and we asked her to help us bring a showcase to New York, and she did. And she worked her butt off, and she got us there. And honestly, that's why all of this is happening. And Ronnie, you know, Bren was also one of the producers on the Lenny Bruce show. Is that right?
She might be. I stay out of that end of the business. You know what I mean? I know she's close to Ronnie. Yes, she is.
She's like, yes,
I mean,
yes.
Yeah, I know she. Yes, exactly right. So, but yeah,
Yes, she is a producer on the
My
Lenny
brain
Bruce
doesn't work on that.
So that's kind of how that all. So we approached Bren, and Bren was already working on Lenny Bruce, and that's just kind of how all of this came together. So Bren was kind of the catalyst for a lot of this time.
Way to go, Bren, making that happen. And then Ronnie, an amazing actor, and so we just were saying during the break, he's going to be doing more performances?
Yeah, we've got three. It's almost like pop-up theater at this point. You know, we ran for almost a year at the same theater where Jessica's play is going to be, and then we moved it to New York, and we ran there for over 100 performances, I think, in New York at 2 different locations off Broadway. And now we're bringing since it's a one-man show basically, and it's very simple in terms of the setting, we can do it that way. So to keep it fresh, because it's all him, and he wrote it, and he performs it. We do it on occasion. We'll have 3 performances next week, but we're getting ready to move it to Chicago. We had bookers come in from Chicago who've seen it, and so we had 2 theaters actually both theaters kind of wanting it. So we kind of had to make a choice. So as of right now, it looks like I think we're going to be going into the Royal George in Chicago, it looks like, which is a wonderful theater. And I'm from Chicago, so it was like, that was kind of fun for me to be able to bring the play back to the hometown.
Fabulous.
So anyway, we're getting ready to do that. But Ronnie, again, he's a special human. I mean, because it's called a Theater 68 because his group was called the 68 Cent Theater, because when he came out from New York, he had 68 cents in his pocket, and all he wanted to do was do theater. So he had 68 cents, and he found some other guys that wanted to do theater, and he started this little theater company. Now he's got this beautiful space in NoHo in North Hollywood here, and it's just a wonderful space. I mean, it has the marquee like a movie theater. And he works tirelessly to have made it what it is. And on top of it is a playwright and an actor, and is smart enough and open enough to see other great talent when it appears. And,
Love it.
And again, like I say, things happen for a reason.
That's
and
right.
I think it's why we all got together in a way. That's why we're here.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. And we promised that we would talk a little bit about how things are now. So you were in this space where you were having to place your child. And we've had a lot of moms on here talking about that, and it's, I wish we could talk about it endlessly, because there's a lot that comes along with that, I understand. But you wrote a play, and now all these other things are happening as a result. Where are you now in terms of how is your son, and how is he doing, and how are you doing with how he's doing?
He's great. I mean, one of the beautiful things about this, and I don't think I could continue doing this play if this wasn't the case, but it has ended up being the best decision we ever could have made for him. I mean, he's thriving there. He went from having, 5 2-hour meltdowns a day, which was the entire day, to having 1 a month is where we're at now with him. And he is happy. And he gets to stay in this wonderful place indefinitely, as long as they can meet his needs. And so it's just this insanely wonderful situation for him. We went from kind of nightmare to kind of just the best thing we could imagine for him. So I'm just very lucky, and I know that's not everyone's situation. So I feel very, very grateful that that's where we're at with him.
How did you find that place? Because that's the big question that everybody says.
Yeah,
if I had a place where I knew that they could go and be okay, but the process of finding it seems to be really difficult right now.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was just this kind of crazy stroke of happenstance. So my ex-husband and I separated, and he moved to Louisiana. I was in Texas. And once he was officially living there, Elijah actually went to live with him for a time when we separated because I was a mess. And the behaviors were so bad. And it was to the point where physically Elijah could overpower me sometimes. So, so once he was established in Louisiana, they started seeing a doctor there, and this doctor recommended this place. And as of now that they were residing there, Elijah could go. So it's one of those crazy things where it's like if we hadn't gotten divorced, if he hadn't gotten remarried and moved to Louisiana, all of which seemed very sad at the time,
Right.
you know, ended up being the very best thing that ever could have happened for Elijah. Wow. So,
How old is he now?
He'll be 20 in October.
And is he aware of the show? Does he know about the show?
No,
Okay.
he's not quite high enough functioning to process all of that. He's never seen me on stage. Yeah, but he's just a happy guy.
And
so.
that's what's important.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's what's important to me. Yeah.
And Joe, is it kosher to talk about how your daughter is doing now?
Absolutely. Listen, you know, I never. It's funny. My daughter was born in 1987, and I was shooting the movie The Godfather in New York when she was diagnosed, because at that time, you know, that's kind of what that was early diagnosis back then.
Yeah.
But it was like she was about 2.5, and we started to realize that you know, gee, all the other kids around her age are talking to each other, and she's kind of, you know, just kind of not even looking at us, type of thing. Yeah, like I said, this is, you got to remember back then it was a little more, not as much information out there.
Yeah.
So once. When we got that diagnosis, you know, when the doctor suggested I think you should go see it's like whatever, the person that would help maybe diagnose what's going on here. And when he sat us down and says, well, I think what it is your daughter has autism. And it was like, you know, you get that thing where the bowling ball hits you in the chest, and you look at each other and you go, okay, now, you know, so you have two choices, do you or do you like, okay, now what do we do? So, okay, you kind of recover, now you start doing what you need to do to look into this stuff. Mm-hmm. So, bottom line, so I do the movie. The Godfather comes out, and because it was such a big movie, they had tons of press about it. And People magazine wanted to do an article on my character because I was the villain in the movie. It was like the brand new Godfather movie. It's going to be a big deal. And somehow they had gotten wind of that. And so I remember in the interview, the person from People magazine said to me, listen, we had heard from some source that perhaps you have a child with autism. Is this something, can we mention this in the article? And up to that point, I really had never it wasn't that prevalent where you'd read about parents, especially in show business. Right. So like, always said, by the way, here's my, in fact, if anything, you'd heard about families.
They kept it.
They kept it, you know what I mean? Like you kind of thought about, the rumor was, but you never hear about it. And I was about to give like the standard answer of like, no, I'd rather, and then I thought to myself, well, wait a minute. And I look over and I'm thinking of my daughter who would, like, I remember how I had done this other movie prior, like a year or so before that, and she was born very premature. She was only at 1 pound 13 ounces when she was born.
Wow.
So she had gone through so much before even the autism diagnosis. And that there was one movie where I was supposed to leave to go work in New York for 2 weeks without them. And literally the day I was going to get on the airplane, I looked at her in the crib and I went, no, I've gone through too much in my life that I'm going to go away for 2 weeks. And I called the producer. I said, look, I'm going to the airport. I need a ticket for my wife and the child. They're coming. And without hesitating, he said, absolutely, you got it. So all I'm saying is all this was going through my head in that moment when they said, do you mind not talking about it? And then I thought, okay, I got two choices here. I say, no, I'd rather not talk about it, which is basically then saying, oh no, my daughter's going to live in this netherworld that I'm never going to talk about, and she's going to be this person that's just kind of in a box over here. And I'll talk about my other daughter that was born during this time, my daughter Gia. but that one we're not going to. Then I realized, fuck that, I'm not going to do that. So the other alternative is, yeah, I'll talk about it. Let's go. You know, okay, because she's there, and yes, I just found out, yes, she does have this thing. I don't know a lot about it, but we're going to learn. So anyway, it comes out. The article comes out in People magazine. Say much, but then basically, and they showed a picture, and we're all there. And even then, I thought to myself, well, it's out there, I did it, okay, whatever. And then finally, somebody sent I think maybe even before emails, whatever it was, I got a letter sent to my agent through whatever. Somebody didn't know how to reach me, but they got the letter to me, and it was just a person saying, I just want to say, I read your interview. Because I mentioned in the interview about how, yeah, I know what it's like when you walk into a grocery store and you're holding your child's hand, and they have a tantrum, and people in the grocery store are looking at you because you're a bad parent. And you want to say, no, I'm not a bad parent. This is, you know, but you don't. You just kind of have to go with it. But this person wrote me this letter saying, thank you for saying this, for doing that interview. Because we kind of live in a world where we think, well, it doesn't happen to them. You know, they live that glorious life in Hollywood and everything's dandy. And so thank you for sharing. And that's the moment I realized, that's it. I'll never, ever not talk about it. So it's a long answer to your question.
Yeah, but a great answer. You took us to church again,
It's kosher,
Joe.
you know, that's it. That's you know, that's it. It's out there.
And she has never said to you, hey,
Mia?
yeah.
No, because well, Mia, that wouldn't even be on her radar. You know, Mia will be the first one. Sometimes when she starts, you know, doing things like maybe flapping a little bit too much or repeating something over and over and over, and we're around somebody who's meeting her for the first time, and they might give me that little quizzical look. Then I'll say, Mia, why are you doing this? And she'll say, because I have autism. And then, okay. Now it's like, okay, then the person instantly, especially thank God now in 2019, people get it.
Right.
And they go, if they don't get it instantly, they get it when she says it. But that's all. But no, if a person could be proud of having autism, Mia comes as close to it as possible. Because in other words, she just deals, you know, because she has no inhibitions, this, that, you know, like, I remember she ran into, I think it was some famous actress, whoever it was, or somewhere, it's the one who's married to Justin Timberlake. I can't think of her.
Britney Spears?
No, I don't can't think of her.
Oh wait, they weren't married.
He's married to her now.
I know who
She's
you're
a very
talking
big
about.
actress.
Yeah, it's like.
Oh, Jessica Biel?
Yes.
It's Jessica Biel.
Is it?
But anyway, she happens. She runs right up to her. Hello, Jessica. I'm Gia Mantegna. Very nice to meet you. This is my sister Gia. My dad is over here. You know what I mean? And I can see it on her face. But she was wonderful because she got it right away. So that's Mia. That's Mia's reality. It's like, you know, autism does not stop her at all. She's like full speed ahead, and you can talk about it, deal with it. It's like she's on her own. But, and that's a bit of blessing. Like I said, she's 32, but she's also like a beautiful 8-year-old who loves to go to Disneyland and take pictures with the princesses.
Yeah.
So how bad is that?
She's a wonderful person and a very talented artist.
Very talented artist, and she was the first person with autism to graduate from the mud makeup school because that's one of her obsessions is makeup. So I'm thinking maybe she may work her in or get a little makeup for some of the actors in the play.
Remember when we did Temple Grandin and Friends?
Yes,
we
I
did
do.
the makeup for everyone, and
Right.
me included. It was wonderful.
Right.
I especially loved when she went over to do Temple's makeup, and Temple was like, "There's very little."
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
just
But,
a little bit.
but you know what I loved was that Mia was very kind about that and said, well, you know, so what would you like? And did like the very
Just powder she did on
smallest
it.
I'd say
of.
Temple's mother were very, very close to her. Eustacia Cutler.
I love Eustacia.
We just saw her in New York, and my wife and her are just really tight, and that's been an incredible kind of relationship over the years.
I'm deeply envious. I've gotten to interview Eustacia. To me, you know, I love being around Temple. I would always choose to be around Temple. I just enjoy her so much. But Eustacia's
an incredible human being.
Right?
Just unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, when you look at Temple and you look at Eustacia and you go, well, okay.
Yeah.
This was kind of, this is why this happened.
Yeah. I feel like there are times in my head where I'm like, what would Eustacia say? Like, you know, that in my head, because she's just so amazing and has such an interesting outlook on all of this. It's really, Really amazing. So I love that you and your wife have a relationship with her.
My wife and this other woman, Chris Curry, the two of them have been like driving forces to get you station. Write it down. Tell the story.
Oh, yeah.
And she'll go, oh, do they really think they want to hear this? Yes.
Yes.
Just keep doing.
Yes.
You know her story.
Yeah, she's absolutely amazing. So we got to get back to talking about self-injurious behavior, though, because you're getting ready to start these performances. We should say and be very clear that you have a big event that's happening on the 30th, and people can come to it. But this is live theater at its very best in terms of people are going to come and it's the first time you're going to have an audience for this.
It's true, yes.
So if you love that feeling of live theater where anything could happen, this is the performance you should come to, because there's going to be a talk back afterward. We're both going to be there. They're both going to be there, which is the bigger, they don't want to see us. They want to see them. Wonderful performance to attend, but know that you're seeing it the first performance.
The first time, yes.
If you want to come and money is an issue and you're a caregiver, you want to make sure that you go on the 5th. That is the performance that you can go to. But in reality, there are going to be performances from the 30th to September 26th, 28th.
And the email where you can arrange for those free tickets,
Yes.
and I think any of the tickets, is that right?
Yeah.
Is industry.sib@gmail.com.
Okay.
So if you would like to request your tickets for the 5th, just email and say.
And
Okay.
the 6th is the opening night.
And
Yes.
it's Theater 68, which is in North Hollywood, 5112 Lancashire Boulevard.
I love that you are Google and
Well,
you can get us there.
The show ran there for a year. I had to go there a lot.
I love that. Okay, well, we're really looking forward to it. And of course, I'm going to see it on the 30th, and I'm going to be talking about it after that as well on the show. Really looking forward to coming. And I'm bringing my kid to see it. You know what we didn't talk about that I need to talk about before we go is that you, in the play, you have a young man who is playing someone who is on the spectrum. The play, he's not actually playing your son, though, correct? It's a
That's
character.
right. It's based on my son.
But so this actor who's playing this individual on the spectrum, tell us a little bit about him. Is he also on this? And I guess that's up to him to disclose whether he's on the spectrum or not. But what was that process like?
Yeah, this is another beautiful miracle that happened for us. His name is Jude Seacrest, and he's a child actor in Dallas. And he was recommended to us by just a teacher of children, theater teacher that we really, really respected. He came in, and it was just like, first child we looked at. Just has one of the craziest work ethics of any actor I know, child or adult, and comes in, knows his stuff. We had him work with a woman named Stephanie Garrett, and she was our autism movement consultant. And so she helped him find who Benjamin was going to be as far as what tics he might have, and they worked with me to discuss what level of physical issues he should have, and we just worked until we found what was comfortable in Jude's body and what we were all comfortable with and what looked natural to us. And he just gives a brilliant performance. That kid,
Can't wait to see.
he breaks my heart. I mean, in the best way, and I'm so proud of him. So proud of you, Jude.
There we
It's
go.
the third city. He did it in Dallas and New York and now LA with her.
Okay,
That's right.
he's got to love that. He's living large. How old is he? And
he's 13.
Yeah, and
He's
as an
gonna be-
actor, he's traveling to New York and LA.
I mean, yeah.
I'm sure he's loving it a little.
He's gonna be the one to get big time after this. We're all like, Jude's gonna be the big star because
Okay.
he's amazing. He's a
All
great
right,
kid.
well, I
Yeah.
can't wait to see him. So again, get your tickets. Is there a website that they can go to learn more about the play? I know that the hashtag is SIBLA for the show.
Yes.
So if you tweet there, I'm sure we can give you information about website. And if there is a website, Traven will put it up there within minutes because he's talking to Bren right now.
Okay. Brand is it's SIBonstage.com.
Okay, all right. There it is.
Also,
And
if
there
you
it is on
Google-
the screen.
I'm sure if you Google Theater 68, they'll advertise it, and
Yes.
you can always
Okay.
call the theater and they'll tell you everything you need.
Okay, and I would imagine that they'll give more information about tickets and how to get them but we had it right up there, SIBonstage.com.
Absolutely.
So if you be there on the 30th, you'll be there with all of us, or you can come anytime in between, but make sure you get there and we'll be talking about it. So thank you guys all for